So, hi Nick, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Can you tell us in one sentence what does your work constitute of? How do you define your profession at the moment?
I'm a media consultant and I work on a number of different projects. I work as a trainer and a facilitator, and I work with producers on their documentary ideas. I also am a director of a company that does distribution of documentaries on demand on the internet. And I also work with broadcasters on their programming strategy.
Okay, great. And you're an expert in the cross media. Okay, can you define what is cross media? Everybody hears this word, but not everybody knows what it is.
I think it's very simple. I think it really means that you're using more than one platform to engage your audience. So if we think of the most common digital platforms being television, the internet, mobile, and games platforms, a cross media project would try and use more than one of those platforms to reach the audience and to try and engage them in a way they want to be talked to on that platform. And so understanding the way people use a mobile phone or the way they use a games console is really the heart of trying to plan a cross media project and developing your work so that it will reach those audiences and they will use the content on those platforms.
Okay, so this implies also a change in languages, in the way the stories are narrated, doesn't it?
I think so. I think traditionally documentary makers have made linear programs, linear films, which would have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Well, if you're making content in a non-linear environment for a digital platform, people may want to consume that media and view that media in different ways at different times. So you need to think of your film as a number of constituent parts which you may offer to your audience at different times and in different ways. So they may want to watch short versions of your film on some platforms, on mobile, for example. They may want to understand more about the context of the film or the characters of your film on the internet. And they may want to engage in a completely different way in a game on a games console platform. So I think it really is back to the beginning to understand what's your story, who's it for, and crucially, what's the benefit of making it cross-platform? I think the danger is that people think that everything must be cross-platform, but not everything is suited to it. And so you need to consider what the benefits to your audience would be of making it cross-platform, not the benefits to you as a producer.
Yes, okay, of course. And can you mention some project that you consider very successful, some cross media project that you've been working on, or somebody else also?
Well, two good examples, I think, that are different in the way they've approached cross media. One would be the way Arte Television in France and Germany have been doing web-based projects. A very successful one was Gaza Serot, which looked at communities on both sides of the Israeli border. It told the story as daily episodes. You understood particular characters and their point of view and their experience, and you could navigate your way through the story by character, by storyline, by timeline. It made it fully at your control about how you understood the story. And because it was a daily experience, it gave people a reason to come back. And with digital media, I think that's one of the big issues is why would you come back to this project? Why do you want people to see more of what you've done? And that was very successful, and it ended up also being a television film. A very recent example in Britain is a series that's currently on television called 7 Days. And this tries to take the interactivity of the audience a stage further than a series like Big Brother, for example. This is a documentary series following a group of people in London, and each week they film them anew, but the film includes the comments of the audience who've been watching that film. So audiences can say whether they like the characters, whether they think the characters are making good life choices, and try and influence the life and the habits and behavior of those members of the documentary film. And that's a very interesting model, which is very controversial, and I'm sure will be looked at by a lot of people to see whether it's actually worked or not.
Right, wonderful. And you're coming to Italy next week to run a cross-media workshop. What will the workshop be constituted? I mean, how will it develop?
Well, I think we're going to look at 4 or 5 different elements of cross-platform working. So looking at the definitions, looking at some examples, understanding how funding might work and where you might try and get that funding, because it's not quite so straightforward for a cross-media project as it is for a traditional documentary. We'll be looking at distribution possibilities, in which case you might be getting your films and your content seen in different ways on different platforms. We hope to be talking to a commissioner of cross-platform, to some practitioners who've made successful cross-platform projects. And also we'll be looking at some ideas that have come from the participants of the workshop, and helping them develop those ideas and giving feedback on, as a group, giving feedback on what we think could be done to improve those ideas and make them more genuinely cross-platform.
Okay, wonderful. We're going to have a lot of young people participating in the workshop, so we all look forward to having you here in Italy. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you very much.